something to scream about.
Now, granted, this isn't like, this might not work for everyone. This is definitely geared towards like myself in terms of like how I learn. I'm a very visual learner. Now I think everyone has different ways of learning, and figuring this out is always really handy because then you can sort of lean into that. And personally, I find reading is a really easy way for me to sort of pick up on stuff. And when I talk about reading, I mean like reading sheet music essentially. But the process initially starts off with, like I said, like NORTHLANE is very specific in terms of how we write and sort of go about those early phases of writing. Because John, the guitarist in NORTHLANE, he's like the core songwriter, and he will send parts that are like, he already has like MIDI drums written over his riffs, so there's already like a core idea there initially. Now, for me, essentially, it's like sort of learning what this core idea is and then being able to turn it into something that I see as my own, essentially. And sometimes that takes like drastic changes to what's already there. Sometimes small changes. And that's more to do with like sort of understanding what the song needs itself. But initially for me, I'll take these demos, and this can apply to like any sort of, if you're anyone learning a song or anything. Essentially the first thing I do is sort of write out the core ideas onto sheet music. I'm also aware that not everyone has the skills of doing something like this. This is not you have to learn how to do something like this.
A valuable skill though, right?
I think so. It's like a dying art as well, right?
Yeah.
Just because like, people are capable of sort of MIDIing out parts so easy these days. And so personally for me, like that's like the first phase of learning something. It's like just writing out the core idea. It doesn't have to be perfectly written out in terms of like the whole song structure. It can just be like, the verse idea, the chorus idea, bridge, so on and so forth. And that's first step, I think, is really important because it allows me or anyone else to sort of look at the part and see where all the hits are landing in relation to one another. So it kind of gives a visual map essentially. And like the process of like trying to write it out is like the first step of like understanding what's going on for me personally. Now, I've also seen that a lot of people who don't know how to read music, and they're generally more inclined to like listening to stuff and working off what they're hearing, which is also a cool way to do it. Personally, that's a slower way for me. But some people are really in tune with that sort of method, and just being able to listen to a part and then sort of play it. I find more errors in that sort of process. It's not as refined, not as detailed, but still doesn't mean you can't get to the end sort of the finish line, I guess. But personally, I try and build from a core foundation. So I have like the core idea down. Essentially, I'm just trying to turn it into muscle memory. So once I've written it out, I'll then I've got some writing here. I've been working on some stuff lately.
Yeah,
so
quick screenshot.
So that's something I've been working on, and I haven't yet played that on the kit. I've just sat there and written it out. The next step for me is actually going to the kit and just not even playing it to the song, just setting like a really low BPM and sort of just starting to build muscle memory off these core ideas. And by doing it like that, then I'm just learning the drum part on its own. There is no relation to the music at this point. I might have the riff sort of playing in my head, but essentially I'm just listening to the part itself, and just turning that into muscle memory. And obviously I'll start slow with the BPM and slowly move up towards the tempo of the actual song. I'll actually probably even end up going faster than the song as well. Probably up to 10 BPM faster, so that when I pull it back again, it feels a little bit easier.
Yeah, feels
Good trick.
nice and comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good trick to learn. But like I said, that's very, specific towards Northlane stuff for me. But at that point, once I feel like I've got it up to the tempo of the song, that's when I feel like I can start to get creative with it, because by that point it should be muscle memory, and I shouldn't be the parts should just be sort of coming out of me. I'm not, I'm sort of just letting it flow.
Yeah.
Then I can I have like more room to think about like what I can do on top, what accents I can add in, or ghost notes or fills and stuff. And that's when I sort of allow myself to get creative with it.
That's really cool. So you're basically following the basic rhythmic concept given to you by John, and the riff that he's written to complement, similar to what happens in our process. Cam will write something
very similar.
MIDI drums, send me an idea, and then I'm basically trying to figure out whether it's playable and how to orchestrate it best and things like this. So
exactly.
that
cool.
that seems to work really well for me. And what I liked about what you said is, you're kind of keeping the core idea so that you develop the muscle memory for that solid foundation, and then you can be creative around that.